KFGM Ballroom sessions are made possible by generous donations from individuals, businesses, and organizations in our community. If you would like to be involved in supporting local music by donating to this program, please visit 1055kfgm.org, click the Donate Today button, and add a note saying that you'd like to support KFGM Ballroom sessions. Located in Missoula, Montana, Rattlesnake Cable Company makes high-quality guitar cables, microphone cables, low-profile patch cables for your pedal board, line buffers, and more. As musicians, we will spend all the rent on instruments and amps and microphones, often overlooking the importance of good cables to let those instruments shine through. These US-made oxygen-free bare copper cables preserve the high end of your signal, and heavy shielding ensures they are quiet and durable for years of use. Learn more at www.rattlesnakecables.com. Back to the Mother Kombucha is a locally produced party for your taste buds. You can find Back to the Mother Kombucha in stores all over the Five Valleys. Back to the Mother's mission is to seek out every alternative in sustainable practices to show how we, the people of this planet, the stewards of the earth, can live abundant, healthy lives in a manner that sustains the earth for generations to come. We may not know exactly what that looks like, but we are here to start the conversation. We are changing the dialogue about how ordinary people can change the world. Like their Facebook page to keep up with updates and events, and find out more at www.backtothemother.earth.
Hi, I am Adelaide the Mermaid, and you're listening to 105.5 KFGM Ballroom Sessions.
What's up? This is Mia Souza. You're listening to 105.5 KFGM's world-famous Ballroom Sessions right here.
With FUULS.
Well, all right. Then I guess the first place to start is why don't all of you introduce yourselves? So all of us out here in Radioland know who you are.
Who's going to start?
I'm Aaron Soria, and I play drums in FUULS.
I'm Rob Cave, and I play bass in FUULS.
I am Thomas Cornelius, and I play guitar and sing, and I like to party.
But are you in FUULS?
No,
Okay.
just here in spirit.
Local. He's a temp.
I'm just filling in for the other guy.
No.
You guys are so far away. I feel like everyone's
It's
really
very
spread out.
spacious
Yeah,
up here in
it's
the
nice.
ballroom.
Oh,
I love
well.
it.
Okay, so a lot of people might not know this, but FUULS was here, and then FUULS was gone for a little bit, and now FUULS is back.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Rob a little bit before this interview, and you guys have all been super slammed, super busy doing stuff. I mean, I see you guys playing a bunch of shows again. Are we looking forward to some new stuff on the horizon? New album, maybe? You left us with, what was the last album you guys put out? Was it Age of
Our
Anxiety?
last album was 2015. Age of Anxiety is our first release.
And then it was like Wolves.
Yeah,
That was
we
a
released
single
a
for
single that wasn't on Age of Anxiety called Hidden Wolves, and that was our very first release. And then our first album was Age of Anxiety.
But we got some stuff coming real soon.
Don't be too cryptic about it.
Oh.
Well, the actual...
It's a secret.
Yeah, that's what it's called, is it's a secret.
I'm thinking that we should take this all the way back to the beginning. I know that you guys are all from Great Falls,
Yep.
and you obviously met in Great Falls and became friends there, and then all moved to Missoula, or...
Tom and Rob have a big history.
Yeah, me and Tom have been playing music together since we were I think 14. I was 14,
You were
maybe
14.
Thomas was 14 or 15 at the
Well, I
time.
moved here shortly after my birthday, and since I'm a month older than you, yeah, that would be accurate. I was 15, you were 14.
And what was your band called back then?
Oh my god!
I love this band.
Secrets. So we were called Charity Motion, and we
Yes, Charity Motion.
were a 4-piece Christian indie rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Best band in Great Falls.
we dropped the label Christian a long time ago. So
Yeah.
So then, what was the next incarnation, musically speaking?
Mars and the Baptist.
Yeah, that's right.
And
And-
that was kind of like a post rock project. There was really long songs, and then we had some indie rock in there.
Yeah.
But during this time, me and Thomas were making these bands, and there wasn't a whole lot of places to play in Great Falls. We really had to think outside the box to really play anywhere, and we were writing music for a long time. So
Yeah, well, when our band Charity Motion was around, that was kind of the tail end of the scene that was happening there, and that was those were the mid-2000s heyday of Hot Topic core and stuff
Yeah.
like that. We played with this band. One of our more infamous shows that I think we'd hate to think back on was this time that we opened for a band called Broken Side. If you can call
my
them.
God.
No, you don't get to start this story with, we opened up for a band called Broken Side. You
Well,
say
if you
we
can
opened
call
up
them.
for Broken Side. Great Falls.
Yeah, it was kind of the infamous precursor to stuff like a
Blood on the dance floor.
yeah, there you go.
I went to Warped Tour 2009. I know.
Yeah.
it was kind of weird, being a young 17, 16-year-old and being oh, we're opening for a band that's been on MTV. I wonder what it is. And then listening to Broken Side
Yeah.
and then being okay, this is beyond anything I've ever heard before.
Well, we were kind of goaded into it too because we had one of our friends. His name's Ricky Shade, and he's a little older than us, and he was just really into it, and he thought it was hilarious. He's one of those dudes that just irony is his first language. So us opening for them, he actually they used to travel with this pig mascot, right? And whenever they used to play the song called Breet Bree, which was pig squeals,
yes.
he was in that suit because their merch guy like had hurt himself or something, and so they asked him to do it, and so he was like running through this crowd of like 15-year-old girls, and he actually regretted it afterwards because he was like, so many people grabbed me like below the belt that I can't explain to you how weird that was to have to fight off 15-year-old girls like reaching for my junk.
While wearing a pig mask.
Yeah, while wearing a pig mask, and this dude upstage, like on stage, looking like a mock Lil Jon, is screaming "Bree Bree" over like weird, awful
And
beats.
y'all were where while this was happening?
I was hiding in the back of the venue at the time. I was like, I don't like the screaming.
What
I don't know what's
venue
going
were you
on.
guys playing at?
I think it was Black Eagle Community Center.
What?
And I remember that same show we opened for another like kind of pop punk band called Karate High School. And I remember that band being awesome and being like, why did this have to end and why did the Brie Bring have to begin?
Well, no, do you remember we actually talked to them afterwards, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not like really into this. This was just put together by our management."
Yeah, and it's strange. I still don't
They
understand
did
that.
not like those guys. Well, they turned out to be really like duplicitous because, or not Karate High School, but the
Broken Side,
band.
there was some really bad stuff surrounding them in general.
Yeah.
That came to light after
Well,
the
like
fact.
sexual abuse allegations, and it definitely seemed that way since their fan base was mostly 15-year-old girls.
Yeah.
And
Aaron,
it
where
was
were
like-
you while all this was happening?
Oh my god.
Middle school.
Middle school.
Aaron was at I remember the first time I ever saw Aaron play drums was at a middle school talent show.
Why do you have to bring that up? That's
Because I'm your
not-
biggest
What did you
supporter.
do? Were you playing Tom Sawyer?
I wish. I really wish. No,
What
it
was
was,
it like?
it was just like a band that I did with my friends. We only did one song, and we practiced for months, and it was terrible.
I played that show with you guys. That your middle school
With
talent
your
show
brother,
with my
yeah.
brother,
I remember that. Yeah.
What was your band called again?
For Clockwork Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
And Tom, you were in this band with them?
No.
No, actually, like, who was in it with you? I forget.
Alex Johnson, Austin Mew, and Christian Mew.
The powerhouse. Great Falls powerhouse.
It was. But it was terrible. Like, I didn't really start playing music until Tom moved in with me, and then we started jamming at like midnight to like 4 a.m. at what is that place? Morning Light Coffee.
Yeah.
When did you all come together after Broken Side, after the past of the Breet Breet, when did you all
After the talent show.
So like Tom and Rob have been playing for years. Like 2012, Tom and I started playing, and then I think you moved away.
I was living. Yeah, I was kind of nomadic at that point. I was traveling all over, and had spent some time living in Omaha, Nebraska, with some friends. Came back up and like was living with my folks for a bit in Browning, Montana, and like then eventually started just like kind of commuting between Missoula and Browning on a pretty regular basis. And I moved down here with the sole intent of starting a like sludge metalcore band.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I mean, Aaron and I were really like wanting to get that started. As soon as I got here, I was like, "Oh, that's not happening. No one cares about that here." That's like a side project thing. You don't get to have that as your first project.
When Tom was nomadic is when I met Rob, and when I first moved up here, it was like predetermined that Rob and I would be in a band, and then we just kind of waited for Tom to get to Missoula.
Yeah, like we had all jammed together kind of sparse occasions in Great Falls with our friend John Plank. And it's kind of cool because John has been there for so long and he's a good friend of ours. And like I remember jamming at a space, the 406 Club, like all of us together. And then like, maybe a year and a half later, we would all be in a band. And then the person that recorded the REP that we're going to drop, It's a Secret, is John Plank. So it's all kind of like in this weird bubble of people.
Yeah. We keep it within friends, usually. That's what it feels like.
But me and Aaron were in Mountain Shark together. And then when Thomas moved up here, we're all like, let's start a band together. And that's how FUULS started.
What's the story behind the name FUULS? Because if you're listening, you know it sounds like FOOLS, but in reality, it's not.
I think it was a Facebook conversation.
No, I remember it. Well, so first off, the U's instead of the O's, that was Tom's idea because there's a band called The Fools, and like FOOLS is kind of boring.
Yeah.
And then the U's just aesthetically they look nice, and it keeps us our own. But I remember Tom and I talking about how we started the band, and I came home not sober, and I kind of stare at not theatrically kicked open the door. I was like, "What's up, fools?"
Yeah.
And I just kept on calling those guys.
Well, see, he makes it sound like this was a solo event. This was like over the course of like about a year that this would happen. It was just like there's Norm from Cheers. Every time he walks in,
You'd have
every
the
episode
Kramer
starts.
entrance every single time.
It was a
Just
mix
kick
of
open the
Norm and Kramer. Where just what's up, fools? And
Latino Kramer.
yeah, and it just kind of at that time it was like I think we were all just like it was specifically us three that we had like a really heavy communal time together where we were just really enjoying one another's presence.
Soul Calibur 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
we played a lot of Soul Calibur 4.
Yeah, and we just spent a lot of time just being friends and like hanging out. And I don't know, for some reason that particular word really stuck with us, I think,
Totally.
So tell us about your very first live show as FUULS.
It was at,
Where was it? How's everyone feeling?
What
How
technical
did it
difficulties
go?
did you have?
I'm going to say 95% certain it was at the Palace was our first.
No, it was at the Hockey House.
Never mind.
Well, it was called the Dollhouse. back
Oh,
then.
that's right.
Dollhouse.
Yeah, it was the Dollhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When was that? What year was that?
That would have been
13? It must have been 13. It had to have been.
that.
2013.
Yeah, I would say so. I moved here at the May
Or
2013.
no, it was 14 because I think I was just about to get married.
We are not time masters, apparently.
Yeah,
It was
It's
like,
okay.
for a reason.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a quiz later or anything.
Which is, I feel like it would have had to have been 13 because I saw you guys for the first time in, I feel like August or September of 14. So, but you'd been like a band for a little while by that point.
I think it was, pretty early 2014, like spring at the Dollhouse. I forget who we played with, though.
The Whoop Ass Girls.
Oh, the Whoop Ass Girls.
And
Nice.
There was one. What was that band called?
I don't remember.
They were like a punk shoegaze band from Vancouver. I'm forgetting their name.
I think I remember that they recorded at Club Smed, but
They did a live session there.
yeah,
I don't know. We forget.
It's a
Can
secret.
I Google it? Would it come up on Google?
I tried to look that far back not too long ago. I couldn't find it.
No matter. I want to hear the story about when you guys gained the superpower of being able to destroy people's shoes.
Oh,
I just heard about this, and
Yeah.
it's probably an unenviable superpower, but
Yeah.
we like to keep that one in the wraps, but I guess we can talk about it.
Wait, what? I don't even know
No,
anything
so
about
you
this.
didn't know you had this power?
So it was the first time that I saw you guys. It was at the VFW, and I had just moved here, and I think I had just met you guys. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go see this FUULS show." I don't know anything about FUULS, and I remember just going so hard dancing. I remember getting jostled around by Seth Simonich, who's probably going to be listening to this and will be really excited to hear his name on the radio.
Yeah.
Shirtless and just sending me across the room and dancing and stuff. And as the dust settled, I looked down and my white Vans were completely busted up. Like the bottom sole of it just like was off of my shoe. Granted, I was like, I had had the same scrubby pair of Vans for like 2 years by this point, but it just, that show was kind of the nail in the coffin of those, and I had to get a new pair. I thought it was really funny. I think I went up to one of you afterwards. I was like, "You broke my shoes."
Do you want reimbursement? Is that why this is being brought up?
I've been waiting for the right moment to come
And
to you guys
and it is
for
now.
what is rightfully mine.
Our return policy is that you have the receipt.
I have the shoe and I have it. I actually brought it with me.
The witnesses, we get Seth up on the stand.
Seth will back me up on it.
I don't know. Do you guys want to do you want to take that question? I don't know anything about it.
I don't know. Like, I always like look into questions too deep. And I think ever since FUULS started, we've always notoriously had like pretty rowdy crowds. And I don't think that was ever really the aim of the music we were trying to make, but it was just one of those things that was like, oh wow, this crowd is really rowdy, and like then it became this thing that was kind of ongoing, having a mosh pit at most of the shows we played.
Yeah, FUULS has always seemed to bring out the rowdiest people I know. I mean, all the Juno kids, all those people, they're always in the front, just ready to throw bows and get down.
Aaron's brow just dropped.
And I mean, when I was first going to shows and getting X'd out and stuff, having to sneak in through the back, but carrying gear and stuff and whatever, I'd always try to go to FUULS shows because I knew that those would be the most fun out of all of them. So I was really sad when you guys dropped off the radar for a little while there. But you're back now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of our influences all come from specific places of movement. Like, I grew up listening to punk and just being a type of guy that just couldn't sit still. Like, I mean, in high school, I mean, pretty sure all of us had fidget problems, Rob's whole background comes from funk and classic rock, which is just, I mean, it's just groove music. Mm-hmm. And so he brings that to the table. And Aaron he has a heavy background, listening to just all kinds of things.
No, that question comes later.
Okay. But
a lot of hardcore.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of our influences really breed that kind of attitude in us.
I think your amp is picking up radio signals again, which is really funny because right when you were our influences, it was infomercial music in the background, just super we came here together.
And it's kind of silly too. Tom mentioned one of my influences. I listen to a lot of classic rock, but our first set, people you guys sound like classic rock, and I was like,
what?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, television. Everyone used to say we sounded like television.
Yeah, but that's not a bad.
No, that's great. I love that.
Anyone that compares us to Marquee Moon is gonna be. Well, we've also been. It varies because we've also gotten Offspring before. That one, that dude, I almost took it as an insult, but I realized that guy really loved the Offspring. So I was like. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Compliment.
Yeah, has that been the best compliment you've received, that you guys sounded like Offspring?
Mountain Shark got Breaking Benjamin once, so I think that holds number one for me.
Yeah, there was this one dude in Great Falls. I was like, "Are you guys fans of Breaking Benjamin?" And I was just like, "No response." But. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like it's not something that when you get feedback, it usually comes from a place of music that individual is passionate about, and they're trying to link
they're trying to level with
their personal experiences with what they just experienced as a crowd member. And I think the cool thing is that I just appreciate that if that band was someone that resonated deep with them, that maybe they're having a similar experience. And I always try and take that kind of feedback, even if I don't like that band, as a positive, for sure.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. Usually I just tell people something sounds like FUULS and leave it at that.
Thank you.
One cool thing that we heard at one of our last shows is that, we play with a lot of bands from here and there that tour around. And one thing I keep hearing that I used to hear back when we were a band before our hiatus was, I haven't seen people just saying, we haven't seen anything quite like this in a lot of the states we've been to. And it's just I don't know, it's kind of cool to hear that they can't really pin it down, but it's something that's hopefully unique. And that's something I think we all try and go for too in our own way.
Well, I think that one of the things that makes our band uniquely special is because everyone's tackled classic rock, everyone's tackled garage rock, everyone's tackled every genre that you can have, right? So it's I don't think of us as musically special. I just think that what was so special about this band was that when we came into it, when we were playing it, we approached it with a really fresh vision, because I honestly didn't grow up listening to any of that. So when we stumbled into it, it was new to us for the first time, and we were approaching it from a bunch of different backgrounds, and we were just like giving our spin on it. But then also too is like I think it's really important that one of the powers of our presence is really just in its live show. Because like you feel what's the friendship that's going on between me and Rob and Aaron and all of us just like really vibing off of each other, and there's just magic that happens between us because we love each other so much.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really get lost in it. I mean, Aaron's usually hiding behind a curtain of violently moving hair. And if you blink for 1 second, you're going to miss and look, and you're just smashing your guitar on the ground, and Rob's just there bringing the thunder.
Well, and there's just times where like some of my favorite moments personally, like I love breaking things. But I mean, like one of the things that stand out to me are like, you know, like there was this at our last show that we just had where I like closed my eyes for a second and was like just playing, and then like I opened them and Rob is just like in my face, just full on like smiling and dancing, and I'm just like, man, I love this so much, and just there's just something there that like that kind of connection.
Have you guys ever done the back-to-back thing?
Yeah,
They have.
I think we have
Multiple
the
times.
size difference like made it very awkward for I think for both of us.
It makes me jealous 'cause I can't participate.
Oh, you guys could go rub up against Aaron. Just
No, Tom stands and falls on my kit.
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think he stands and falls. I think he
No,
like,
he's fallen.
barrels.
He's fallen before.
The way it always looks to me though is, you know, he's whiling around and just barrels into your kit, and you're just in the zone and come to, and Tom's on top of you.
That makes it sound way more intentional than it is. I just spaz out until I happen to run into something. It's usually what happens.
All right. Should we play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we
let's do
tackle
another
another
song.
song?
Come on,
Okay. Well, this is a
Cacahuethes.
no.
No, this is a brand new one.
Yeah, this song's really just.
Did you say new song?
Yeah, it's a new song.
In post, can we get an air horn?
Yeah, it's called Ronin, and it's just about how mad we are at things that are happening right now, and we send our love to everyone who's suffering right now, honestly. So, okay. And they say, Jesus weeps, watching bleeding feet at nauseum. But when you part your teeth, that song's called Nosferatu. All right. Well, this song out here is about treating your lover like she's your mother.
Don't tell me it's not the things that I've done. I keep it up. I know you go. It's all the way I've done I keep it up good. I know that there's so many things that I want to do right, but it just keeps coming out clean. Oh, I keep it up. Believe me, girl, it's not the way I wish I you've got me all wrong. I don't want you to believe what's in any of my stupid songs. But if you'd open your ears and just close your eyes, I'd learn to tell you what this song is all about. Oh, gross.
I've heard Rob play bits and pieces of that bass, but I hadn't heard the song yet. And that was really cool.
Wow.
That was a sweet one. I liked that a lot. I visualized in my head the sweetest music video for it, where it's all in reverse and it's like a bunch of people like fighting and like dancing and stuff. And as it goes, it's just like the cacophony is like it starts out as like some weird middle school dance, like the end just like closes with that and like the school doors close.
Ballroom bliss, baby.
Yeah.
So he moves to awkward middle school dance at the end of the song.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a lovely song. It kind of shows your range as musicians instead of just always, pounding things out.
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's
down a couple
it's
notches.
also with all these newer songs, they're way more like textural and I don't want to say experimental because that's way too broad of a term, but it's definitely outside of the box that FUULS had been in previously, which is weird to say because I wouldn't even really necessarily put FUULS inside of a box. But
it's interesting because that song we played at the tail end of us, right before I did this, we had played that at a few shows. But it's kind of interesting because I think us coming back to this project a couple of years later, I think we've all been playing consistently throughout that time, and we kind of are looking at what we did in retrospect and hoping that we can add everything we learned to what we're doing in the future.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. It definitely. I don't want to say you sound like you've all matured because it sounds like you were immature before, but hold on.
We can't
Got
sound
a
too
refreshment
mature.
break going on here.
Yeah. No, it just with all the different little textual elements you guys have added. I mean, is that something we can look forward to in more FUULS stuff? A little less party slug, a little more middle school dance.
A little more like regular slug, actually. So like, because I mean, Freudian Slurs is a song that was like written almost 2.5 years ago.
I wrote that bass line a year before we even played it.
Yeah.
I've been floating that.
So
Actually-
that's actually been a really.
I have to ask, so about that song, one of my other favorite FUULS memories, I was like convinced for the longest time that it was only me and Colt Tronson who experienced this moment together, but you were playing at the Gengar house back when it was still hopping, and
before it was destroyed by
punks.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it got knocked down because of construction.
Yeah, actually, I lived in the house
It was
next
literally
door.
demolished.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I lived in the
really
house
demolished.
next door, and we got served with a notice saying they were going to tear our house down, so we had to leave. And now they're putting the library there, so I guess all was not lost. But yeah, so we were there, and you guys were like sound checking for something, and then you guys started just playing Green Day covers.
Tom tricked me into that. I remember because he started playing a riff and I started playing around, and then like he just switched it on. He's done that to me so many times.
It was so, I just remember standing there being like, wait a second, and like convinced that like, it was like in that sweet spot in between bands where everyone's outside smoking, and like I think there had been a keg there too, so everyone's outside. So Colt and I were there though, and it was just the strangest thing and then you guys stopped and everyone came back inside
And missed the entire
and missed
magical
all of
moment.
it. But I feel like I think there were other people there too. It just in that moment, you know, FUULS has that ability to really
Well,
make you feel like you're the only girl in the world.
well, that's like. I think that's because I do that to make myself feel like I'm the only girl in the world. Honestly, like because like so many of like the stupid things that end up happening on stage or whatever are literally only for my benefit. Like I know other people might find them humorous or whatever, but I only do it just because like my mind thinks it's funny, and
Yeah.
it just if it happens to be collateral, like making it to the audience and and it connects, like that's great. I've been lucky on having those things happen because like I feel like the banter and humor and stuff that like I've given at times has definitely been like it's been risky, like I can't recall any of it because it's so
I
in
actually
the moment.
can. Birthday Bash 2 years ago, you guys were led on stage in like inmate outfits. I don't know. You guys all were like handcuffed together or something. I was like working the door on like hour 30. I hadn't gotten any sleep the night before because I was busy doing like venue management stuff. And I look and you guys are all like dressed up like prisoners walking onto the stage. That was really funny.
Well, we started that set with was it Folsom Blues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so bummed I missed it now.
we do a lot of things
Yeah,
like
if you just
tongue
kind
in
of keep
cheek.
an eye on them,
Yeah.
you'll see some more of that kind of stuff.
I feel like one of the things I really like about playing with Thomas and Aaron is like we've all like lived together. We've all been roommates. We've all are like so cozy with each other that things like that happen. Mainly like Thomas said, because we want to like have fun ourselves. And like I play bass in some other projects, and things like that don't happen. I think mainly the reason why I feel more comfortable, you know, like doing shenanigans or whatever when we're playing is because I've known Thomas like my whole life, you know.
Aw. I would love to see if there was like band prank wars. I feel like FUULS would win. FUULS would definitely win the prank war.
I don't know about that
I
actually.
don't
We're
think
pretty
we should
chill
get this idea going.
domestic
Sounds
guys
scary.
like on the side. I don't want to like invite any of that
we
trouble.
could be a little sheepish.
Yeah. Like on stage we definitely let it all out, but like off the stage, I mean like I'm a dad of 2 kids, you know, and like and Rob's like one of the most chill guys that I know in
Yeah.
the world, and Aaron's a pretty domestic guy himself, so we're just like, please don't hurt us, you know. But yeah, I don't know.
So you just played some new songs that are going to be on your upcoming album.
No.
No?
Okay, so like the first song that we actually started off with, it's like 1 minute and 20 seconds long or something. And it's a lead into another song called Party Slugs. That will be on there. There's 3 songs that we're releasing. One is called Tarantula. Then there's Conniption Fits, and then another song that we'll play in this next little bit called Dry Spellcaster. And those 3 will be the ones that we'll release. The newer things that we've played, I think, were the 2 that we just started this last part with, a song called Ronin and another song called Nosferatu. And that's been some of the material that we've written since we've come back. We have another song, but it's hard to play and sing at the same time, so we haven't even tried to tackle it yet. So we have an EP release coming up, and the EP is going to be called It's a Secret. And
I get it now.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just someone asked me what it was called, and I said it's a secret just as like off the cuff, and then I was like, sure, let's just call it that.
Wait. Okay, so Adelaide asked you guys this question a little while ago, and I've just been thinking about it, the guilty pleasures thing. And I wonder if you guys had come up with answers for that yet, just because I'm curious. I like hearing people's guilty pleasures.
Okay.
Jump into that.
Yeah, I'll start. I remember when I was a kid, my brother discovered this contraption called a CD player when it first came out. And one of the first CDs we got was like TLC was the first one. Then soon after it was Third Eye Blind. I probably listened to that Third Eye Blind CD 100 times through. But this is a weird thing. I was like didn't know what was going on that it was in a Rage Against the Machine case. So I thought Third Eye Blind was Rage Against the Machine.
Could you imagine?
For a year and for a solid year.
How confusing.
And I was
thought
like
Zach
10 years
De La Roca
old.
was doing that.
I was like, man, these guys aren't as heavy as I remember, but they sure rock.
I've never heard that story. That's so awesome. It's like thinking just like, wow, this song's got like a really catchy "And You're Wounded." Man, these guys really rock.
Yeah. Oh.
Was it my turn
Add
now?
on?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. But guilty pleasure. I mean, I really liked Paramore's new album. I like pop, really like pop, and I love their drummer. He's a solid guy, solid drummer. That's my guilty pleasure.
Tomas?
I like pop.
I also say that's his guilty pleasure because I'm just drawing the verdict now and guilty as charged for sure. Like,
Own it.
I don't
Hey,
like.
who are you to judge?
I mean, it's purely subjective, but I'm just saying if there is going to be a guilty pleasure, you're right. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I'm
He's
having.
not.
It's fun. I'm shameless, so
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know that there's anything that I find to be like.
I guess
a
what's
guilty
the
pleasure
thing
of
that
mine?
you would if your friend handed you the aux cord or if you're at a party, what's the favorite thing of yours that you love that would piss off the most people?
There's a few things there. It's hard. Yeah, like, okay. So I listen to a lot of like kind of it like the range is very varied.
Yeah.
But I would say like if there were two things, like I've definitely had this happen at a party where I'm like, hey, let's put on some like Ryuichi Sakamoto, or like, hey, let's listen to like some oh gosh, like Olafur Allnots or something like that, like where we're gonna listen to some like really moody, like very chill piano music, and like because I'm just like I just like really feel this right now
At a party.
and it just kills it, like not
I
in a
can see
good
that.
way, like in the worst way possible, and they're just like
you
people
think
are like
the people think you're playing them out.
I feel like
Yeah.
we gotta give Capizzoli a shout out right
Oh,
now. Because my friend Capizzoli, he's the kind of guy that will go to the middle of the party and play the Jurassic Park theme music by John Williams
Oh my god.
in its entirety,
it's true.
and then get so stoked and just talk about John Williams, and everyone's having.
I think
like,
I've had that happen to me before, actually. I think I was at your house and that happened. We were like listening to just like
the best stuff,
And
and
then-
then out of nowhere,
he's like, I want to show you guys a track real fast.
Oh, actually, there's a guilty or pleasure. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gregory and the Hawk.
No, wait, maybe that
I
sounds,
really like Gregory and the Hawk, and it's there's this singer-songwriter Meredith Gaudreau, and I think she's from Brooklyn. I don't know, but it was like she plays these like really really nice ornate guitar lines, and she writes and does everything. It's all DIY, but some of the songs are just so bubbly.
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I don't think there is. Like I said, like I'm not shameful about it, but I definitely know if I put it on in the wrong crowd of people, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adelaide?
Oh, my turn?
Yeah.
Guilty music pleasures. Oh, goodness. I would probably have to go with like some pop dance music, like Calvin Harris or
Nice.
Lady Gaga. Or that.
It's fun. I was in middle school once. I was down with Lady Gaga.
Yeah. It just gets me going, you know?
Yeah.
It gets me pumped. I don't care.
See, yeah. Anyway,
See,
I can get down with
I
that.
feel like I'm open-minded enough to where almost all music is just like I could see merit in all of it, even if I don't really like it, and maybe not broke inside. But you know, that's just me. But I think my guilty pleasure stuff. I already said Pitbull, Mr. 305, Mr. Miami. Come on, Mr. Worldwide. This Baha Men cassette that I was gifted is actually really good, and then the other half is just 6 remixes of Who Let the Dogs Out that they did. It's just Baha remix, Who Let the Dogs Out. You know, I think like every California kid had to have their Sublime, Red Hot Chili Peppers, 311 phase, just stir it up, eat it up. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm down with it. All that stuff. I think, like I said, there's merit to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like talking about music with other musicians. It's fun.
Well, as a disclaimer, I mean, like, music taste is purely subjective. So, I mean, like, whatever anyone values, like, continue to value that. Like, I think it's fun to poke fun at music and poke fun at different things. But, like, I mean, honestly, someone could listen to us and be like, that's just the worst god-awful thing that I've ever heard you listen to. And I would be okay with it because...
I have a really funny story. So I work at this coffee shop where we spin vinyls, and one day we're like going in, and me and my coworker KJ, we always have this record we put on every single shift, and it's a Pond record. It's like the backup band for Tame Impala.
Oh, cool.
And so before we both hear this person like talking about how she's a trained classical violin player, hopefully she's not listening. She might know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so she's just like, she kind of prefaces this conversation, and we overhear that she's like a really classical violin player. And then we're playing our favorite record. We're having a great time. We're pulling shots, et cetera, and we're making coffee. And this lady comes up, and she's like, we're trying to work. This music is like way too intense for me to like work to. Do you have anything slower? And I put on a Thelonious Monk record I had. But at the same time, it's like kind of weird how people will preface not liking music with "I'm a trained X or Y musician."
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
like,
and I think that's a thing specifically with people who are trained in classical music, because I went to a musical conservatory called the Colburn School in Los Angeles, and I played violin for about 8 years, and then I switched to violin. I've been playing that since, and I was in orchestras, I did chamber, I did all that sort of stuff, and like, there's something about the attitude towards music that specifically classical musicians seem to have, because they're like, we're playing the gold standard of music. This is music at its highest. And I think like that's not necessarily wrong, but I mean, it's not to say that's right. It's just an attitude I run into. Like I was probably playing some like 311 garbage or something, just like, listen to this. And they're like, nuh-uh, what are you talking about? No way.
Yeah.
But in their defense, it was 311. I don't know.
Well, like, I mean, what does music, like my thoughts on that are that music is essentially an emotional language and it's a type of communication. And like, I think that you can do no wrong to enjoy as much music as you can possibly, because every type of music evokes a different type of feeling, a different type of understanding. And like, I mean, there's this like article that I read where it's like a person's language specifically changes the way that they think, right? And I think that that's really important to digest as much possible or as music as possible, so that way you can continue to expand your mind, to expand not only just your enjoyments, but also the way in which you digest the world. Like, it's very important to not just say no to everything right away. Like I definitely joke about doing that, but it's not true. Like,
Yeah.
I will give everything a chance, because I'm like, well, it's important for me to understand how the world is today. And music is one of the most important things, and one of the sweetest and most enjoyable ways of coming to understand this reality. You know what I mean? So
I guess, you know, on that topic then, what have we all been listening to? I need an album recommendation. I've been kind of stuck in a musical rut. I've been listening to a lot of Sada Bonaire. They're this world experimental group. It's one of the most expensive albums in recorded history, and it is just the most experimental, off the wall kind of thing. The dude got these 2 Berlin supermodels to just like kind of talk, and Lionel Richie's like sound engineer like did it's ridiculous. You guys should check it out. But yeah, Rob.
I'm like so all over the place with my music taste. Adelaide might know because I buy most of my music from Adelaide.
At Ear Candy.
Yeah. I've been like
Shout out to Ear
Gotta
Candy.
give me
I'm
some.
definitely a regular for sure. But it's like I've been listening to a lot of this. There's a female hip hop artist called No Name, and then right afterwards I'll listen to the new At the Gates record, which is like brutal.
I think that's
like,
the best way to enjoy music,
Yeah.
though, is like
Yeah.
listen to drastically different types of it constantly, so you're not just stuck in the rut like I am.
think one of the ones I'm really stoked on right now is a band called Joe's Past. They're on Sub Pop, I think.
Yeah, Joe Pass.
Yeah, and they added me on Instagram before I even like realized who they were, and they're like, "Oh, we're dropping our album on Sub Pop today."
Rob, do you want to
So-
plug your Instagram real fast?
No. So I go to Ear Candy, buy the record when I hear about it, and then listen to it. And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. But I kind of like going to record stores and just kind of poking around because there's so much music I've just learned about from being curious at Ear Candy. It's interesting.
When I lived with Rob, him coming home with a blind buy, that was always fun.
Yeah.
Never listened to this, never heard of them. Let's put it on. Found some good stuff that way.
Aaron, what have you been playing recently?
So there's a band called Dumb from Vancouver, BC, and they just dropped a new album on Friday, and it's phenomenal. They're super great. I played Sled Island last year in Calgary, and they played right
cool.
after us. Well, it was really cool the way it worked out. I played with a band called Magpies, and we played upstairs, and then right after us was Mike Watt and the Missing Men. So we went downstairs. They gave us a shout out, and then once they finished, we went upstairs to see Dumb, and they were just incredible. They have a free EP on Bandcamp.
I
and
feel like I
it's
saw
the
you after
best
you played that,
thing.
and you showed it to me, and you were really stoked about it.
Yeah, well, they just put out a new record. Like, it's out on vinyl now. I just got that in the mail. It's phenomenal. I'll never stop listening to MF Doom. That's like any of his albums are always on my.
Which one?
So right now I'm really liking his. Oh, it's Operation Doomsday.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah.
liking that one. I have Food on vinyl. I have King Ghidorah, but I still need I'm like, my next step is to get Mad Villain. and
Yeah.
Operation.
Totally.
And then Every Time I Die for like my hardcore metal, like God,
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of
I
them.
was waiting for you to say Under Oath, honestly.
No, their new album just didn't really get me. They just they went pop, and I just like didn't really like that. But Every Time I Die, they're just always brutal, always catchy. And they have like 5 albums that all have great songs on it. So it doesn't matter what day it is, I can listen to. There's an album for me out there by them.
That is a low-key influence for both Aaron and I as the Chariot and Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember you guys actually, one of you showed me a home video of Chariot playing a house
The
show.
Chariot at Perth.
Where they're
You
just
know
like,
that video,
where
Tom.
they're just like,
That video's nuts.
they're like destroying someone's house and climbing on the roof, and there's people everywhere. It's awesome. I don't know. I liked it. Tom, what about you? What are you listening to right now? Like I said, I need a recommendation. Come on, you guys.
I have kind of been in between a couple of things. So there's this like I just found out about this band that's like an older band that was, I guess, like their album was curated or helped or produced by The Cure, and they're called like And Also the Trees. So their first record has been really good to me. It's like it's like post-punk goth rock, so it sounds
Nice.
like Dracula doing some, like over some Bauhaus or something like that. I've been listening to that, really getting down to some Linda Dalton. Yeah, there's also there's this gal from, I think, Tennessee, Nashville probably, and her name is Sierra Farrell, and she like has just this beautiful old soul where her voice is just incredible, and you can find her stuff on on Bandcamp and on YouTube. I suggest the YouTube videos more because just the way she evokes her voice and that the emotion in that while just busking on the street, I cannot say enough about how beautiful it is to capture that kind of emotive power. Especially just of like that old time kind of country vibe too.
Totally.
There's a song called Rosemary, or In Dreams would be a good thing to look up. Other than that, it's like kind of the used.
Oh, the used?
Visuals. Oh. No, the used. Yeah, just really, really getting down to the used lately. Like just Bert. Bert has the voice that just carries me through the night. My
It's
darkest
not
nights.
2006. Tom.
They're still playing
Shut up,
Warped
Aaron.
Tour.
They're so good.
Well, Adelaide, Queen of Vinyl, what about you?
Yeah, so I definitely listen to a lot of music.
Really?
Prove it.
So there is a ton of awesome music coming out of Australia right now, and all
Yes.
different kinds of music
Yes.
too. It's all over the place. Rolling Blackouts, Coastal Fever is one of my faves. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, of course. Time for Dreams, if you're kind of into that dream pop stuff, that's really good. They're out of Melbourne. Melbourne.
Out of Melbourne.
Melbourne. The Melbourne band. There's an artist called Kaja Bonet. Have you ever heard of her?
Yes.
Oh,
man.
you would
So good.
Based on what you've already described,
I
what you
gotta write
listen
this
to,
down.
you would love her.
Listen to
but I think she
Honeycomb.
is classically trained.
Yes.
But her music is indescribable. It kind of reminds me a bit of Solange and her
Cool.
orchestration, and her vocals are kind of like this 60s folk singer kind of
Nice.
sound. It just fits
Yeah.
together so well.
Well, she just released that new album. I forget what that's called, but The Visitor is really, really good too.
Yeah, and then she has a new one, and I forget the name of that one.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to how jump in there, but
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another duo that I've been digging lately is called Lump. You ever heard of Laura Marling?
Yeah.
Oh.
it's
It's
so
her new
good.
project with this guy named Mark Lindsay.
Oh, cool.
And that's also kind of hard to describe, but
It's like kind of avant-garde, little spacey, like lo-fi folk feels.
chamber
Yeah.
pop kind of
It's
thing.
interesting. It's just
Yeah.
something to be experienced. It's really
Yeah,
nice and
yeah.
wonderful.
But yeah, like I said, I listen to all kinds of stuff, but those were kind of the ones that, bubbled up to the top for this.
I've been listening to a lot of like Latin music, a lot of Spanish music and stuff. I think one of my favorite. There's this trio. They're like 15, and they're the #1 superstars in Brazil right now, and they're called MC Loma. And it's just like the most abrasive, like like Latino kind of music with these like girls just like power rapping over it. And I was driving down Broadway and I was bumping it with a bunch of my friends, and we look over and there's some like construction dude, and he just looks at us and he rolls up his window.
Oh,
I was like, oh, fine, whatever. Don't want to listen to any Peralisa. Like it's just like that kind of annoying Brazilian music. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Jorge Ben-Hur, like that kind of old school, just singing guitar, like Brazilian music and stuff, and a lot of Portuguese and what have you. But I forgot what I was talking about. Honestly, I had like 2 other bands that I was thinking about in my head that I've been really digging on, and I truly just forgot. Isn't it funny? Music is so fleeting. Well, I guess maybe we should stop talking and let these guys get back to it. Tom's taking laps, and Lord knows what's going to happen if we don't let him get back to his guitar.
There's the devil in my apple tree. He's got the goods, but it don't come cheap. He doesn't know, but he never leaves me be. Fight back for your southern love. I got the goods, but not quite enough. You want heaven, get the
Also, the Nude Party is also a really good band if you want to go check them out on Spotify. Thank you.
Every night I have a dream pleasing out of mother's stereo, and it's a long drive home. An AM prophet comes to tell me that he thinks that every man should know they're a knife that goes. You try spellcaster, some kind of human disaster. I couldn't cut a bullet drowning the tide of debutante. When I was 5, every thought about the world was a magic show. But then my fill was torn. I'm looking by a witch's telephone, tuning about a holy dialogue. It's a long drive home. You try spellcaster, cackle the demon romancer. Couldn't but die like a punch. I'll leave him swinging by the dog. Some kind of human, huh? Don't need to fight for what I want. I'd seen a tie and martial arts. Yeah! future is steaming. The future is. One, two, one, two, three.
The new EP is 3 songs we recorded with John Plank in Great Falls. We went up there kind of like spur of the moment. John's a friend of ours, and he's like, I would just do this for you guys, for little to nothing. So we just kind of headed up there and recorded some old songs. And that was the first time we had played together in like 2 years. So we were just like, let's record 3 songs that we haven't played. Like,
Well, we recorded 2 we had and then wrote a new one.
yeah. So that was, and like during that, we were kind of like, well, it'd be fun to do this. And then when we were there, we were like, well, let's just start the band again.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the rebirth of
Oh.
our bands. Yeah. That trip to record this EP. So all the masters are done. We're just kind of like getting all of our ducks in a row, getting art ready, getting kind of dates and what we want to do for release ready. But I would say expect it no later than like September.
Yeah.
Like
Sick.
after the latest.
We have a song coming out on 20 Sided Records in September as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, cool. That's Charlie's thing.
No, Charlie's in Couches, but that's David Mitchell's label. He's running that on.
Is it coming out as a single or?
There'll be about 18 to 20 bands on the comp.
Oh, okay,
So there'll be like
compilation.
20 songs.
Oh,
I'm excited. I'll be on it 3 times.
Let me guess. Couches, FUULS, and Magpies.
Yep.
I gotta ask really fast, Aaron. Do you have Hello Kitty tape on your cymbal?
No, it's a pink unicorn tape that Adelaide knows pretty well because
Yeah.
we play in a band together. Our guitar player in Rooster Sauce likes to put pink duct tape on all his gear so he knows which is his and no one else will take it.
Oh.
So I need a tape. That was the only tape.
It's worked pretty well so
Yeah.
far.
I've had that piece taped for over a year now, and it still works.
Yeah.
So pink unicorn tape, better than silver duct tape.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, he doesn't have picks, but he has
He's
the
got-
pink duct tape. So
That's cool. I mean, with my gear setup, I don't have a synth stand, but I have an Omnichord, a Microkorg, 2 analog synthesizers, and like a laptop that I cue sound effects off of. It's the most like a mixer. It's the jankiest setup, but I use a step ladder. So
Get an ironing board.
I was thinking
Yeah.
ironing board would work.
yeah,
as
I
well.
think I need a little bit more space because the step ladder is it's a ladder. So it's really funny to watch though because I'll like have it on like 3 tiers and sometimes I'll stand on one of the steps and people are like, whoa. Crowds love it. But yeah, okay. I forgot why we hopped on.
We're
here.
talking about gear. Let's talk about what
Yeah.
y'all are playing today.
I feel like
Can we have Tom go first,
Tom,
please?
go first.
Tom can go first.
Well,
Disclaimer: Tom's guitar is beautiful and was top tier.
yeah.
Yeah. And another disclaimer is if for all you people that can't see Tom's guitar, one half of Tom's guitar is on top of my vinyl collection.
Well, 1/3. Let's.
Yeah, it's
Let's
more
be
like
fair
it's
here.
a solid third.
Well, I've had this beautiful thing, which is a G&L ASAT Blues Boy, or ASAT Classic Blues Boy Telly with the F-hole. And the F-hole did it no favors when it came to collision with other things.
The ground.
So,
It's fair to say that guitar has seen a lot of crashes, though, for a long time.
Yeah. It's just a constant reminder of my emotional state.
It's great though. I feel like your guitar sounds fantastic.
No, that
No, it
guitar's
still
a tank.
does.
Yeah.
That's why I keep playing with it, is just because it refuses to give up. And I for some reason, like the more beat up it becomes, the more I'm actually falling in love with it. Because like I said, like you beat something up so much and you're just like, yeah, it's just the guitar or whatever. But the more
It's got character, all right.
Well, it's half a guitar. It's missing half of its character. It's just gone. So I mean, like it's become its own special thing, and I'm happy with it. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. I think I'll just keep playing with it since it's not actually get it fixed. And,
Yeah, who fixes your guitar? Is it Chris?
no. I think there was one time where he attempted to do some stuff with it, and I think he got like one of the wires it wasn't coming through, and he fixed one of the connections to the most important pickup on here. But when it came to trying to fix it with the humbucker, it just was. I think he was like a lost cause for him, and he was like, okay,
It's fine though. It's like I said. It sounds fantastic.
yeah.
And
But-
it has probably the very unique sound because of its physical characteristics. Some of it might be like imperceptible,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah, there's like very minute differences between when it was a whole thing and versus being half a thing.
Which I think is amazing, honestly. Like the fact that you can smash half of your guitar off and it continues to sound almost exactly the same.
Well, I think the most impressive thing is just like how much I don't actually think of the repercussions before that, because I am not a rich man. And if this thing were just to suddenly like give out, I don't know what else I would use. It would just be.
You don't have a backup axe.
I mean, I kind of invested in one. I have a Dan Electro, but it's not the same. Like it sounds totally different. And so we'll just keep going until baby decides to quit.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Surya, what are you
Aaron?
playing today?
I am playing. There's a beautiful Crush Chameleon Ash kit. It's nice and green. Bought it right out of high school. Waited a year for it. It's the last year they were American made, so I think I got the last like good line of Crushes. I love everything about this drum kit. It's perfect.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's. Thank you. I like it a lot. It's like pretty thin shells, but really like kind of thin, dense wood. So it's just like they always describe it as the attack of birch with the warmth of maple, and that's just like the only way to describe these drums. And they're awesome. I love the green stain. I wish I had cases. They're a little scratched up. Got some nice Dream cymbals from Canada. The qualities of the material is not the best, but the technique is phenomenal. I got a Meinl Byzance hi-hat that I just absolutely love. Love it so much. Then I have another Byzance that I have cracked. I use as my big crash, but just the quality of Meinl Byzance, even it cracked, I like it more than other cymbals. So.
Okay. So I'm don't know a lot about drums, and I noticed that you don't have a
Resonant head on my bass drum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that? What does that mean?
I was taking fabric out of it through the porthole, like the little hole in the resonant head, and I ended up tearing it, and I like tear it all the way across. They're just really expensive to replace, and I'm waiting on some people to order it for me. I personally like the aesthetic of having a resonant head, but it honestly just like you can play without it if you don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Not having one tends to be a bit more punchy,
Yeah.
a lot more attack, but then you just have to muffle it a bit more to get that tone, which I don't really enjoy. I prefer to have a resonant head, but just waiting for it in the mail.
Speaking of waiting for things in the mail, have you gotten your eBay?
My hi-hats, yeah,
your,
these
your
are them.
winnings on eBay?
Yeah, I bought these hi-hats on eBay, and it was a nail biter. I almost didn't get them.
Were you bidding against other people?
Oh, I was at band practice, and I was like, all right, at 8:45, we can't play. I got to be on my phone. I got to win these. And I did. I jumped up. I was excited. Like anything from the Byzance family and Meinl is just the best, honestly. Like I've never been more happy with the cymbal. I used to have a 22-inch Spectrum ride that was developed by Rodney Holmes. Nicest thing anyone can play. Nicest, like they're just the best cymbal company in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rob?
I kind of have a special instrument. It's made by someone who lives in Missoula, Montana, and it's a short scale, like custom Ryan Rockavina bass. So he's been a luthier here for a little while, and he usually makes like lap steels. He usually makes like lap steels and electric guitars. and this is the only bass he's made for like the last couple of years, but he's a good friend of mine, so it means a lot to me to have something that was like made by a friend for sure. And another like thing shout I want to give is to Hank Donovan. He's of Rattlesnake Cables.
Yeah, we should probably do that. There are rattlesnakes all around this room.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hank's the best.
But one of the cool things about Rattlesnake Cables is I've had the same cables for about 3 or 4 years. I've had one thing go wrong with one of them, and he repaired it on the same day. So I mean, it's just like these cables are durable, they're made to last, and they sound great. So it's cool to be playing a lot of locally sourced stuff on my bass. My amp's like nothing special. I actually just posted about it on the bass forum, and people were like laughing at me about my gear. So yeah, I was like, my gear's never done me wrong, but like people are like, oh, that's not the Sun 810 Supreme Deluxe Edition. And it's like, oh, whatever, you guys suck. Yeah. But
I'm so glad to hear the provenance of your bass because I have been admiring it this whole time. It's a sexy bass. Can I say that?
You can.
What kind of wood is the body?
It's 3 types of wood. I think it's alder, maple, and birch, but I'm not positive. I got the whole spiel from Ryan, and one of the cool things about it is he hand winds the pickups. He does everything from the ground up, and all the hardware on it is just durable and made to last. I haven't had to really touch it much in the last couple of years to have, a lot of articulation on it. But I think it's a sexy bass. That's why I bought it.
I love that little green stripe at the top.
Yeah,
Little
there's
accent, and then the racing stripe down the middle.
There's actually a shade carpet right here too. He put in like green shade carpet.
That's my favorite part.
Kind of crazy, yeah, but super fun. And I've known Ryan for years now, and it's been cool because I've always seen him be building guitars and stuff, and I told him a long time ago, I was like, if you ever make a bass, I'm gonna buy it from you. And then one day I get on Facebook, see a bass, I'm like, I have to buy that bass from you. And he like worked it out with me. I normally couldn't afford something like this, but he like worked it out with me, and it's kind of like a dream bass. I think I'll be playing it for a really long time. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you went through I remember you went through a bunch of basses really quickly.
I had a lot of basses, and before I settled on this one, I used to play a Fender Music Master, a Squier Mustang, and then a Dan Electro,
which is making its way through Missoula.
Yeah, which has made its way through a few bands, and now Foster has it at Fantasy Suite.
Yeah,
so,
I'll see that bass later.
It's weird, yeah. That's cool. Awesome.
You got any more for us?
Do you guys want to try and give Foreign Devils a shot?
Sure. There's
Just
a
a new
50-50
song?
chance that this
Okay.
will. It's an older one. This was our instrumental on the album. Second to last song.
Oh.
It's a fun one, but we've only played it once since we've gotten back, so we'll see.
Well, let's take a chance.
Yeah, it's a free jam.
16 employees were exposed to plutonium dust.
That's also us.
Where you gonna go? How you gonna get there, girl? You gotta let me know. Yeah, you walk the walk, talking up your talk, with mighty birds are in a row. So delicately put, pulled up by the root. You're living fast and dying slow. She's tipsy by design, tipsy every time, things in every heart of stone. Don't but I see her in my dreams. She's a hipster heart attack, terminally yelling, what the hell that even means? But mom doesn't know. This is that I'm a sail within her nature, caught in every wind she blows. So all fall apart, that's the way it always goes. She'll say hello and I'll fall apart, sucking mirror from the bones.
So salty.
But now she's put the words to every single song I wrote since the day we met. The irony is all forgetting nowhere and I'm still gonna be her friend. Oh yeah!
I think you were actually the first person to tell me the difference between a hi-hat and a ride.
Little hats.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's like a crash and a ride, and I remember you specifically being like, well, the crash is like, and the ride, you just ride on for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, that's what you do. Nice. I mean, the name says it all. Well, hi-hat does it, but I mean, you crash the crashes, you ride the rides.
What's that other one? A splash?
So these are, well, funny you mentioned these. This is a crash ride. This is also a crash ride, and then this is a medium ride I use as a crash.
Is that why it's...
No, this is actually the first professional cymbal I ever bought, but I was still learning like technique, and I was using drumsticks that were too big, and I cracked it. But I mean, crashing this cymbal sounds better than most crash cymbals, in my personal opinion. I like it's big, it's dark. I like that. I like darker sounding
Rob,
cymbals.
what's your crashed up piece of gear that you have? Do you have one? Tom's got a half a guitar.
Aaron. So when we first started playing, I borrowed all of Rob's cymbals, and I broke all of them.
Oh no! Every single one?
Every
I
single
don't have
one.
a single cymbal. And I
Well,
used to have a
okay.
full set.
So you have a bottom hi-hat, and I will replace the top hat. So you'll have your hi-hats back. But I mean, I'll get you
I
those
just
cymbals.
planned on if I ever want to play drums for a band, I'm just gonna hound Aaron to use the cymbals.
Oh yeah, well.
So are you carrying on like
agreement a
IOUs
while
for
ago.
symbols?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's all whatever. I mean, I'm like in the bass world right now, so I used to like play drums when I was younger, but when I sit behind the drum set now, it's just awkward.
If
Like, I'm just like,
Rob ever wants to borrow any of my gear, he knows he can.
Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah, it's a true friend right there.
I'm actually using Rob's throne. This is yours.
I'm like looking at your kit, looking at what's all mine actually, and I see the hi-hat stand too.
Yeah, the hi-hat stand's yours.
See, that's like,
Rob, you got to put some pink tape on stuff.
Yeah, I need some pink tape.
it's just like that brotherly comparison of like, who ate my cookie? And it's like, well, you owe me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been so fun, guys.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'm so glad I got asked to come on down for this.
Yeah, I think it's fun because I feel like almost everyone here, excluding Matt, who hasn't talked this whole time, who's here.
But thank you so much
shout
for
out to
that.
Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt, thank you. This was so much fun.
It's like a really cozy because I feel like we all kind of have known each other throughout this, throughout FUULS and throughout FUULS' existence, and
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool because I feel like it's nice to kind of step back into this realm, for sure, and keeping on with our ideas and stuff and seeing how it progresses. It's been a lot. I mean, like, I feel like if someone's like, oh, what can you expect from FUULS in the future? I would just say, definitely expect us to be bringing our A game as far as like recordings and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're back.
I was gonna say expect the unexpected, but then I was like, that's so cliche. Can't say that. But I just
We've been cliche
yeah.
before.
Do you have any shows booked?
So I think our next gig is July 24th at Von Common.
yeah,
with,
with Cher and Blood Orphans.
Yeah.
What? Cool.
Yeah, and that's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, it is.
And then
I'm really excited to see Cher. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
I love the warehouse. That's fun.
That's a fun place to play. I think, and then after that,
We got Dry Fest, Labor Fest,
yeah,
for FUULS.
and I think
And I think there might be another show in July. I think we're aiming for one more, but kind of what we did was we booked a show that fell through, and then we booked like 4 other shows. So we had like 4 shows this week.
this was our 4th event.
Okay.
We played 3 shows earlier this week, and then this is the 4th one.
Wow.
Yeah, so we wanted to give enough people a chance that wanted to see us to actually get out and get to see us in whatever fashion that may be. But we're trying to shoot for like 1 to 2 shows a month, I think. Yeah.
I feel like this has been a wonderful private concert for Mia and I.
Just been sitting here.
We've got
enjoying
these
it.
plush thrones and
the tan
the
chairs.
sing back.
It's been great. No, I think in the future when I look back on my time in Missoula, I think FUULS is going to be the music that reminds me most of the best time spent here.
Thank
So yeah, maybe someday you guys will play Cacahuethis again. Cacahuethis? I don't know how you actually pronounce that.
No, I mean,
but,
I can say that we will not play that song.
but I can pretend.
they don't particularly love it, but the one that I don't like is Hidden Wolves. So you will never hear either of those songs ever again.
Perfect. I have a really bad running habit of choosing my favorite songs always being the ones that bands are like, no, we're done playing that one or whatever.
And like hearing that, especially coming from from you as one of our friends, means a lot to us, or a lot to me, I can say, because I think one of the biggest reasons why I play shows is to see people that come into the show. They may have had a bad day or just a bad week or whatever. And then after the show, everyone, seems to be in good spirits. Everyone's doing good. And just seeing that, like, associating shows with good times and, like, we're having fun. And the fact that we can share positive experiences or just good times with friends means the world to us, I think, as a band. And that's why we're doing it, I think. So,
Yeah.
I'm really glad there's just going to be a new generation of people who are going to be able to experience FUULS again. I was really sad when you guys disappeared because, it was definitely... It's not the same trying to tell people about what FUULS is versus seeing what it is,
Yeah.
People felt the loss,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like one thing that's been really cool is, playing with Fools is, we've always attracted a different kind of crowd, but these last 3 shows we've played this week, I've seen people I've never seen before out and about at shows, and it's cool seeing that next generation come in and and getting to play for some new people is really awesome too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for all 3 of us, we definitely have the similar goal in mind, which is just for our music to definitely reach people on a level that pulls them up. But I think I think more than anything else, we just want to help build our community.
Yeah.
And even with this second time around, I feel like we're hitting a point where we're older and we have a lot more of our things kind of settled and figured out. And we've hit a stride in our personal lives as well as our professional and musical lives. And it's been so important for us to come back together and do this because I think we're just so on the same page as far as wanting to add or give the best that we can to others without really any super selfish motivations. I think for us, it's really important to have our art reflect a lot of the things that are going on and to snapshot this piece and to hopefully instill hope and instill kind of a little bit of that rebel, of saying well, let's fight a lot of this very, and I'm gonna get political here, but just this new fascist kind of thing that's coming in, because I can't put it any other way. I'm outraged, and it's really, that's a big thing for me. I don't speak for these guys, they have their own beliefs and stuff, but I can say for myself, as a father and someone who has a very real addition to the human race through my 2 children. This is I can't, and I think it's very important. This is not only just a snapshot for our community, to try and give to our community, but it's also to give to our friends and family. One of the biggest things is to be able to have our art and to give it to the people we love around us and to say, hey, this is my voice, this is our voice, this is where we're at, and hopefully we can get on the same page and we can be stronger together. At least that's my take, especially
That's really well put.
this time around, Sorry.
No,
just really took it to that real
No.
place.
Yeah, that's all
Well, I
right.
think it's important to talk about things like that. Music is a way for people to communicate their, like you said, their outrage without it just being going to a rally and carrying signs and protesting in that way. It's a way to be creative and perhaps reach those people who may not respond to someone being in their face, sort of thing.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the coolest things I think we've done with Fools in the past and what we're trying to do in the future, at least in the realms of our community, is supporting causes we really believe in. Our first show back was last March for a health benefit that we helped out on, and that was our first show we played together in a long time. And then me and Thomas have been kind of taking the reins on trying to do a fundraiser for all the immigrant families that are trying to come here and that have been separated as well. Yeah. So it's cool to be able to be, comfortable enough in the community where you can do positive things like stand up for what you believe in whatever way you can. And I think we're really trying to push that with Fools in the future is, I'm outraged at whatever's going on and I feel disheartened about what's going on. What are we going to do to help or at least, spread our support, our voice, etc. So.
Well, I think it's very important for me to encourage the people around me to say your voice is still going to matter. That there is, I've had many conversations on the protests and different things, and it's a new thing. There has to be grace for people that don't exactly know how to handle any of this because it's moving so quickly in a way that scares people. And when we're scared, the biggest thing we want to do is dig our heels and be well, maybe it's not that bad. But I think like in a lot of circumstances, sometimes it's better to overcorrect in well, I don't want to say that. The thing is that it's best to just do your best, honestly. Just do what you can and do your best and try and be gracious and merciful to people around you, but also be loving enough to say enough's enough when it is. And to champion for those who are hurting. And I think that compassion will lead the way on that. And to always remember like that no matter what, your voice is still going to matter. Even if you feel like you can't make a difference or you can't say anything or you can't do anything, like absolutely voice your opinion. Absolutely make sure that you know that you can be heard, because it matters to us. Like your voice matters to me. Like what other people have to say matters to me, and it changes my worldview. It changes how I interact with this world. It changes how I interact with different people. And if I didn't have those voices and if I was unwilling to listen to it, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be a better person than I was yesterday. I mean, there's been things in our band that we really had to kind of embrace from one another and from people around us that have really caused us to become better people. And I think that's just the biggest thing is like, don't let yourself be silent because you're important. You know, everyone is very important and the voices are important to hear right now. You know, and that's all we hope for even our band is just, we're not saying that we're better than anyone else. We're not saying that we know everything that there is to be. All we can do is just speak whatever our truth is, and hopefully, like we'll find our way along with the rest of the stream. You know.
Mm-hmm. I can't think of a better way to go out.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
This.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for hitting me up to come do this.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You are listening to 105.5 on your FM dial.